So picking up from the end of the previous episode, we're seeing that Power is actually holding up her end of the bargain and the deal that they made, with Denji helping her save her cat, taking out the Bat Devil, and not ratting her out to Aki. And coming into this episode, we're seeing that it actually happens. Like, no strings attached. He touches her chest. And surprisingly, this leads to Denji kind of having like an existential crisis, because later on when he meets up with Makima to fill out like paperwork due to the battle that he had with the Bat Devil and all the damage it caused and everything, he tells her that like, he finally reached one of his big goals and, touching a chest. But once he finally did it, he realized that like it wasn't that big of a deal. And that he worries that like if he reaches another big goal that he has, but he wonders if he'll just have more fun during the chase of it. And this is like totally understandable. Like, this is a real thing that a lot of us experience in our lives. And it's understandable that Denji would feel this way for sure. And this leads to Makima trying to like comfort Denji and reassure him if anything, but also possibly being a little more manipulative, because we saw that Makima is certainly capable of that. But she basically tells him that like being intimate with someone is better if you get to know them. And she even lets Denji touch her chest, which he freaks out about. And it just ultimately leads to her saying like, hey, I'll grant you one wish, anything you want, if you kill the Gun Devil. And this is like the big reveal of the Gun Devil here. Like, we heard that gun flesh was mentioned in the previous episode, but we didn't really know what to make of it yet. But now we're finding out that the gun flesh they were talking about is related to this Gun Devil, who at this point in time is pretty much like the big bad of the series. And she goes on to explain that like the Gun Devil appeared like 13 years ago in America, like, go figure, Gun Devil, America. And then it's basically like one of the strongest devils for sure. And it's like the top devil that the public safety and just devil hunters in general want to take down, because it had just killed so many people. Like, it killed over 1 million people in like under 5 minutes. But it's kind of been MIA since then. But she goes on to explain that people were trying to profit off of guns as a countermeasure against devils, which increased in crime and conflict. And there was like more news reports on it and everything. And, gun violence was high and fear of it was increasing. But there was a major armed terrorist attack that happened in America. And that was the day that the Gun Devil appeared. And we're sent into like this flashback, which we later find out is actually Aki's flashback, because we see like, he did have a family at one time, father, mom, and a little brother who was like sick or something. And they eventually go out to play in the snow until like the little brother has to go back to the house for something. And then it just gets completely blown away. And this is of course because of the Gun Devil. Like, this is how incredibly powerful that he is. He's almost like a force of nature. So yeah, this is clearly the strongest devil that we've seen so far. Like, so much stronger than anything else we've seen up until this point in the series. So yeah, he's big boss material for sure. But this is also like Aki's tragic backstory, because he told Denji that he wound up joining the public safety for revenge. And now we're seeing that like, oh, it's revenge against the Gun Devil. But this is also of course why he just hates devils in general. But Denji's eventually like, all right, bet, I'll take down the Gun Devil and you grant me my wish, which, we know that Denji wants to score with a girl. That's like his big ultimate MC goal. So this is like the journey here. Denji has to take down the Gun Devil, and once he does that, he can score with Makima. Now, the gun flesh that was mentioned in the previous episode is also revealed after this as well, because we see that Makima has pieces of the Gun Devil, because apparently he moves so fast that just like these pieces of him fall off. And if a devil eats them, they become stronger, like regardless of what type of devil they are. But the pieces of the Gun Devil also attract to each other. So if they're able to make a piece that's big enough, it will eventually attract to the Gun Devil himself. So that's like the other part of the journey here. Keep going after devils who have eaten pieces of the Gun Devil, get those pieces, and eventually make a piece that's big enough that it will attract to the Gun Devil himself, find him, take him out. So then we come to the team's next big mission here, and they've been tasked with taking down this devil that's in this hotel. And it's also believed that this devil ate a piece of the Gun Devil, so this is like especially important. And they decided to send 6 members of the Special Division 4, and we see that it comprises of Denji, Aki, Power, Himeno, Kobeni, and Arai. And also during this sequence, like before they're getting ready to go inside, we see that Denji and Power have grown closer. Like, after the whole chest touching thing, it somehow brought them closer together, and they now have a better relationship. But it's not like romantic or anything. They're more like full-blown friends now. Then Himeno tries to like encourage the group here by saying like, whoever takes out this devil, I'll kiss them. And Denji's like, nah, that's cool. I want to kiss Makima. That's like my big goal. stole for my first kiss. And then she's like, oh, what about if I kiss you with tongue? And then that like super motivates Denji, and we see him like running down the hall, and Arai is like chasing after him because apparently he has a thing for Himeno as well. And then we see Aki and Himeno like having this sidebar talking about the group, and she gives some comments on Arai saying that like he's not super confident, but he makes up for it in motivation. And as for Kobeni, she's got the moves, but she's really timid. So yeah, she's capable and probably talented, but as we've seen, she's extremely scared and timid as well. But then Himeno tells Aki like, don't die on me. And we're gonna come to find out this is like the thing that she constantly tells him, because we're also sent into a flashback here of when Aki first met Himeno, and we see this guy dropping off Aki that apparently trained Aki to become a devil hunter. We also see this guy in the intro. Clearly he's an important character, but he hasn't been fully introduced yet, and he eventually will. But yeah, this is just showing that Aki and Himeno have known each other for a long time. We don't know exactly how long. I mean, Aki looks older than he did in the Gun Devil flashback, but it's been years. And we can assume that since they're meeting at the cemetery here and Himeno's looking down at the gravestone, they both have a mutual motivation in revenge and losing families to these devils. But she also tells him that he's like her sixth partner, and all of them have died up until this point. So it goes back to her saying like, hey, don't die, Aki. So then they're walking down the hall and they suddenly run into, I guess, the devil they were going after, the one that was said to be in this hotel. And it's like this head with feet, and it leaps after Kobeni since she's like the most timid one. But it's suddenly grabbed in midair by Himeno, and power like cuts it in half. Then Himeno reveals that she made a contract with the ghost devil. In exchange for her right eye, she can now use its right arm. And we found out in the previous episode that this is something that devil hunters can do, because Aki told Denji that he'd made a contract with the fox devil in exchange for some flesh from his arm, and we saw that he was able to take out the leech devil with him. And you know, as I said, we're going to see a whole bunch of different devil hunters having different contracts with different devils as well, and they all get, you know, cool powers in exchange. And Himeno here utilizing the ghost devil's right arm is pretty powerful because like you can't see it and you can't feel it, but it can touch you. So coming into the final sequence of this episode, we see the group moving through the hotel, but they keep winding up in the same place. Like they can't seem to escape floors 8 through 9. Like they can't go down the steps, they can't go up the steps, they just can't leave that general vicinity at all. And clearly some spatial manipulation is going on here. And we can assume that it probably has something to do with the devil that's still in this hotel. Like the one that they killed, you know, the head with the feet, is not like the big threat here. And that's where the episode ends. And I gotta say that the stretch of episodes that we're going to go into after this point is probably going to take like 2 more episodes to complete this arc. But this is one of my favorite in the series. Like this is a lot of fun. And if you weren't on board with the cast up until now, this will really bring you around to them. But I must say, the anime did a much better job of making Denji and the rest of the characters likable in these first couple episodes than the manga originally did, at least for me. But let me know what you think about this episode in the comments, guys. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.